Tonight on CBC Vancouver News.
Prayed so hard that we were going to win this.
Ostrich cull complete. After nearly a year-long legal battle, a BC farm's fight to keep its flock alive has come to an end. Plus,
this directive potentially delays really important care.
Some BC midwives worry changes to their scope of practice will limit vital mental health supports for pregnant people. And
the challenge is going to be the trucks that we have, the garbage trucks, the fire trucks.
Why converting city fleets from gas to electric could be the best way to cut emissions fast.
This is CBC Vancouver News.
Hello, I'm Janella Hamilton. Thanks for joining us. The drawn-out saga at an ostrich farm in BC's interior is over. Marksmen have shot dead about 300 birds, fulfilling a cull order by the Canadian Food Inspection Agency that was issued late last year due to avian flu. Brady Strachan is at the farm with the latest.
33, 34.
As dusk fell Thursday, the cull began. In a large enclosure built of straw bales, agents with the Canadian Food Inspection Agency and their contractors destroyed about 300 ostriches in an operation that lasted hours, as the owners of the birds and their supporters raged at RCMP officers deployed to keep the peace.
I will hold every one of you responsible to the day of my last breath.
Late last year, avian flu was detected on the farm. The CFIA ordered the cull, saying destruction of the animals was necessary to prevent the spread of the disease. A nearly year-long legal battle finally ended on Thursday, allowing the agency to proceed. As dawn broke on the farm, its owners reflected on their loss.
Today is a day of mourning and grief, but we're going to go on from here to see the Canadian Food Inspection Agencies held accountable.
The farm's plight has drawn supporters from across the country and beyond.
I prayed so hard that we were going to win this.
For Val Rilkoff, the cull is a case of a government agency going too far.
They stole these people's livelihood.
Still, some in the community of Edgewood see it differently, even welcoming the cull as a way to end a situation that has brought hundreds of outsiders to their town.
They've gone to people's homes, they've accosted people at the store, they've accosted the store owners, they accosted the neighbor.
Jim McKee lives within earshot of the farm. He says most residents turned against the farmers and their cause long ago.
It's just ridiculous. Like, there's been no empathy or respect coming from them for the wider community. But they're demanding it from us, and if we don't give it, we're haters.
With the cull now complete, the CFIA says it has begun the disposal stage of the operation, the final step in an ordeal that has left this community deeply divided. The CFIA says it consulted with experts to use what it calls the most humane option for killing the ostriches, professional marksmen in a controlled on-farm setting under the supervision of a veterinarian. Brady Strachan, CBC News, Edgewood, British Columbia.
South Asian communities across the Lower Mainland have been targeted in a rash of extortions and shootings over the past few months. Now, BC's Extortion Task Force says it has made some progress in removing some risk.
They have identified 78 individuals who may be inadmissible to the country, and furthermore, CBSA has removed 3 individuals from Canada who are connected to this extortion investigation. If individuals come into the country with the purpose of perpetrating violent extortion, they will be removed from Canada following all appropriate laws.
For more on the extortion crisis, join us in Surrey on November 13th for a community town hall. You'll hear about the impacts and solutions being put forth. You can reserve your seat at cbc.ca/BC Community. Some BC midwives say there's a big change coming, limiting how they can help pregnant people access mental health support. As Katie DeRosa reports, one health authority has already limited midwives' ability to refer their patients to mental health services.
Pregnant with her first child, Anakin Chadwick found herself battling extreme anxiety and intrusive thoughts. The mom from the Sunshine Coast says her midwife referred her to a perinatal mental health team.
I was struggling so much, and so I don't know what I would have done if I didn't have the midwife to take the reins.
But in Victoria, the way that support is offered is changing. Midwives in Victoria received a letter from Island Health last year advising them of a significant change. Referring patients to a mental health specialist can now only be done by a primary care provider or specialist physician. Island Health says this will ensure immediate support, treatment, and ongoing follow-up care.
Stripping that away from them just feels like such a backward step.
The head of the Midwives Association of BC says not every patient has a family doctor.
There are challenges with accessing, for example, family physicians. So this directive potentially delays really important care.
One expert is worried that an upcoming change by the province will make things even more challenging. The Health Professions and Occupations Act, which takes effect next April, removes mental health support, counseling, and advocacy from midwives' scope of practice.
A midwife is a primary care provider during pregnancy, birth, and postpartum. And if a midwife can't talk to their clients about mental health during, a very vulnerable time, who's going to do that work?
BC's health minister insists that just because the language around midwives' scope of practice is changing, it won't limit the care midwives are providing.
And midwives will continue to do the amazing work that they do in supporting women and people who are about to give birth and have just given birth.
Both Carruthers and the Midwives of BC are calling on the health minister to change the regulations so that mental health support and counseling is explicitly included in the care that midwives provide. If midwives can't provide mental health support or referrals, the consequence, they say, is further clogging the already backlogged primary care system. Katie DeRosa, CBC News, Victoria.
New affordable housing has opened in Surrey, offering families more options in a tough rental market. But as Shivani Joshi reports, not everyone agrees it's the right solution.
Working together, we are making a positive impact on the region's urgent housing challenges.
85 new affordable homes ranging from 1 to 4 bedrooms are now available in Surrey for low to moderate income families.
That means more people, especially families and seniors, will be able to find good homes with more affordable rents in a Surrey neighborhood that's close to everything they need.
Metro Vancouver's project, Kingston Gardens, will offer below market rates.
1 bedrooms will start at $1,285, 2 bedrooms at $1,460, 3 bedrooms at $1,640, and 4 bedrooms at $1,820.
The total project cost $44.7 million and was built in partnership with BC Housing and the Canadian Mortgage and Housing Corporation.
Their contributions mean we can build more units and rent them at lower rates while providing services that promote pride and community.
However, some critics believe these builds may not be the most efficient way of tackling the affordability crisis.
Building new homes doesn't make sense for low-income households because new homes are a luxury, and the amount of money you're giving through subsidy could be better spent on a mix of older homes, food, car, whatever. Why not let the beneficiaries choose how to spend the subsidy?
For now, Metro Vancouver Housing says 800 more new homes in 7 projects are currently underway, and a further 760 are in their design and approval phase. Shivani Joshi, CBC News, Vancouver.
A BC-based fruit distributor is celebrating its relaunch in the Okanagan.
It's just an incredible moment because this is a vote of confidence for our growers in BC, and it allows just another piece of infrastructure to make sure that our BC fruit tree industry remains strong.
The BC Tree Fruits brand will live on under new leadership. The brand was sold to Penticton-based Wildstone Capital. Ontario-based company Algoma Orchards will operate the 20,000 square foot storage and packing facility. Measles cases in Northeast BC continue to spike, with health officials saying the virus is spreading quickly through unvaccinated families. The BC Centre for Disease Control is reporting 29 new confirmed and probable measles infections around Fort St. John, with 9 currently active. The Northeast has recorded around 275 total cases since May. An independent review into BC's emergency dispatch service is recommending improvements to ensure the long-term financial sustainability of ECOM 911.
At this time, the priority is for ECOM to strengthen its financial, operational efficiency, and governance practices to get a clear picture of the true cost of service, helping to ensure that local government costs remain sustainable going forward.
The report found the need for better financial controls at ECOM among its 25 recommendations, presenting an annual budget. The provincial government has been fined more than $750,000 by WorkSafe BC, the maximum amount allowed for 2 wildfire fighting incidents, one that led to the death of a young firefighter 2 years ago.
Our concern is not to be validated, it's to ensure that our health and safety measures that we've pushed for and implemented, either unilaterally or jointly with government, those are respected, those are continued, and we see the outcomes that we're all looking for here.
25-year-old contract firefighter Zach Muse died when his UTV rolled over an embankment during the Donnie Creek wildfire. 5 other firefighters were left temporarily trapped the same season. WorkSafe BC says the province failed to provide the necessary training and supervision. The Ministry of Forests says it's disappointed the agency bundled the 2 incidents together and will be requesting a review. Most gas to electric car conversions are too expensive for everyday drivers, but as Johanna Wagstaff tells us, for city fleets, that might be the smartest shortcut to cutting emissions fast.
If we can convert old gas cars into electric ones, and we can, why isn't everyone doing it? Sounds like the perfect climate solution. Reuse the frame, swap the engine, save the planet. But here's the thing. The total emission savings is not as big as you might think. You're still manufacturing new batteries and wiring, and a full retrofit can cost anywhere from $20,000 to $100,000. That's more than most secondhand and even new EVs cost. So who should convert? Well, if you're a classic car enthusiast and you've got to replace your engine, it might actually make sense. That's where a lot of the conversion community started. And overseas, in Europe and China, conversions there are cheaper and easier thanks to looser regulations and smaller cars. Here, it's still a boutique business. But there is one place where conversions actually make a lot of sense: city fleets.
Really what's holding us back is being able to get the fleet. But we have changed a lot of our light vehicle fleets. The challenge is going to be the trucks that we have, the garbage trucks, the fire trucks, everything else.
Every major Canadian city is racing to meet their climate targets, with deadlines coming fast. And one of the easiest ways to slash emissions is focusing on the vehicles burning the most fuel, driving the same routes every day. That's where companies like Blue Force come in, designing custom electric kits for existing work vehicles that don't exist as EVs yet.
Majority of the clients that we have been focused on have been the municipalities and the fleet-based organizations. They tend to have a bigger mass of the similar types of the vehicles, so it allows for that technology to be very well developed and enhanced and replicated throughout the rest of their fleets.
So no, we probably shouldn't convert every car on the road, but for fleets of large, high-emission vehicles in urban centers, conversions are a practical bridge for cities to reach their climate targets.
Doris Madavi is here with our first look at our weekend weather, and I hear there's some snow for some parts of the province.
That's right. More snow is coming to the more northern sections of the province, as well as those higher elevations. Now, here in southwest BC, we are mostly drying out, but this next wave of precipitation, this moisture in the air, is heading up to the north and central coast. So a lot of the mountain ranges up along those coasts and up into the northwest of BC can expect to see some snow. More snow is also coming to the Peace as we speak, and that will continue to taper off over the next into the overnight hours into tomorrow. Tomorrow and Sunday, temperatures are going to come up above 0, so we can expect some of that snow to start to melt. And then if we shift down here, again, clearing up skies, drying out across the board. seems like it'll be a pretty nice weekend, Janella.
Thanks so much, Darius.
Thank you.
A commonplace Facebook hack could be leaving lives at risk in Pemberton. That story coming up after the break. More than 160 people will soon lose their jobs with a major lumber mill in the Cariboo set to close by the end of the year. As Jacqueline Gelano reports, this will have huge impacts on the community of 100 Mile House.
West Fraser Timber says it will shut down 2 lumber processing mills by the end of the year, one in 100 Mile House and one south of the border in the state of Georgia. In a press release, West Fraser says the decision is the result of timber supply challenges, poor soft lumber markets, high duties, and cross-border tariffs. The mayor of 100 Mile House says she was not expecting a complete shutdown.
To have a mill permanently close rather out of the blue, we were not really given any heads up, is very shocking.
West Fraser says the closure will result in 165 job losses, and the mayor adds at least 500 more indirect jobs will be lost. In 2019, the community saw the closure of a different mill and a plywood plant.
So to grow up here being a lumber town and to have the 2 large mills that were the whole hub of activity in our community both gone, that is very devastating.
Pinckney says when a major employer shuts down, it's also a loss of culture, residents, and significant tax revenue.
We are still feeling the effects of that loss of good, solid jobs in our community and the young families that had to move away when that occurred.
The conservative forestry critic says the closure comes on the tail of other shutdowns in the forestry industry.
It's just another domino that's continuing to fall.
He says tariffs are a factor, but government red tape, high operating costs, and restrictive harvesting permits have delivered the final blow.
That's one of the reasons why we're in this predicament.
Mayor Pinckney says tax revenue from the mill would have paid for required district maintenance. She hopes to see the province cover those losses. West Fraser says it aims to relocate impacted employees to other company sites where possible. Jacqueline Gelano, CBC News, Salmon Arm.
Pemberton Search and Rescue says it has exhausted all channels with Meta to get its Facebook page back. The page was compromised months ago, and as Alana Kelly reports, the rescue team says it's compromising their reputation and public safety.
They help people in danger, volunteering their time to rescue strangers. But now they need help getting their Facebook page back.
Our Pemberton Search and Rescue Facebook page was hijacked by someone.
When they're out here, the page is their primary way to communicate with the community.
So we have absolutely no control over any of the postings or activity that we're putting up on that site.
They've tried to get it back.
You know, we've made an appeal. They said they would look into it. They were going to take a sense of urgency. It's been a month now, and we've heard nothing.
Meta did not respond to our request for comment on if they're investigating, but someone on the Facebook page did answer, saying the Facebook is still under the control of the owner.
And we've asked them to identify that we are the legitimate owner of the platform and allow us access again.
Pemberton Search and Rescue believes someone has access to their Facebook account, but can't confirm their identity. And as winter begins to ramp up, so too does their callouts.
We have a really stunning geography here, but it's a really challenging one. It basically presents every type of risk that you could ask for if you're out in the backcountry. So that means a lot of really diverse training, and our search and rescue for many years has done a great job. They're very highly regarded in the search and rescue community throughout BC.
A BC computer security and privacy expert says it's important for multiple people to have access to the account.
It's the same as losing your keys, for example, for your front door, right? Or your business front door. You definitely have multiple copies of that key available, and you make sure that the right people have that. So treat passwords in a very similar way.
There are 78 SAR groups in BC, and many of them use Facebook.
It's a great way to engage with the public, to share information about either fundraising, what the volunteers do, new members coming in, search and rescue tasks that they address.
They're hoping they can get access to their original account and don't have any plans to create a new one. Alana Kelly, CBC News, Pemberton.
The day started off socked in, but by mid-afternoon, the clouds were clearing out. A glorious fall day up on Cypress Mountain. Darius has your full provincial weekend forecast coming up. A dramatic week is drawing to a close on Parliament Hill. The Liberal government has survived another confidence vote on Friday as Pierre Poilievre's Conservatives struggle to stay united. Kate McKenna has the latest from Ottawa.
Yeas pour 30, nays contre 307, 307.
The Carney Liberals survived a second confidence vote on budget amendments in 2 days, meaning no election for now. Prime Minister Mark Carney and Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre weren't even there.
The Prime Minister is actually just a block away right now.
Both were speaking in Toronto, promoting their post-budget messages.
We will also build local infrastructure. That means new hospitals, transit, recreational facilities, art centers.
Our approach had been to demand an affordable budget so people could afford their lives. We didn't get that.
In the last election.
But on Parliament Hill, Conservatives sought to turn the page on a rough week.
We're going to stay focused on what matters to Canadians.
One MP, Chris D'Entremont, crossed the floor to the Liberals. Another, Matt Genereux, says he plans to resign his seat.
Mark Carney did not receive a majority mandate from Canadian voters, yet he's trying to cobble together a majority through undemocratic means with backroom deals and pressure tactics.
Before Genereux resigned, sources say he met with the Prime Minister. And when Conservatives feared he too could cross the floor, they pressured him not to. All this hours before his surprise resignation.
It's really disheartening and disappointing to see that he's resigned. And I think there's a lot of questions that need to be asked of the Conservatives.
It must have been pretty damn nasty for him to go from being a newly re-elected Conservative MP to I'm not sitting here anymore.
Genereux denies that he was coerced into leaving, saying he wishes Pierre Poilievre the best, but his caucus is set to have 2 fewer members than it did at the beginning of the week. Kate McKenna, CBC News, Ottawa.
Prime Minister Mark Carney says he wants to speed up the Red Chris copper and gold mine expansion as part of Canada's nation-building projects. Lindsay Duncombe breaks down why the BC mine is high on the list and what still stands in the way of the deal.
One of the 5 major projects on the federal government's list is the expansion of the Red Chris copper and gold mine in northwestern BC. Here's where it is. It is way up there, about a 7-hour drive from either Whitehorse or Terrace. It's remote, the traditional territory of the Tahltan Nation. British Columbia may be beautiful, but this part of the province is breathtaking.
It's an important step in reconciliation and further developing the potential of northern BC, and is part of a bigger package.
There was surprise when the Prime Minister put Red Chris on the list. Its approval is up to the province, the nation, and the company, not the feds. But highlighting this project sends a signal that the federal government wants to transform this part of northwestern BC. The economic opportunity is big, but there are risks.
It's a region where we'd like to operate for many generations to come.
John Mullally is the head of external relations at Newmont. That's the American company that owns 70% of the operation. Why does Newmont want to expand?
The copper is a very attractive mineral within our portfolio.
Why so attractive? Copper conducts electricity. Want solar panels? You need copper. Want EVs? Copper. Want to build transmission lines, AI data centers, battery storage? Copper, copper, copper. And have you seen the price of gold lately? Combine the 2 minerals and shareholders see dollar signs and governments start counting royalty checks.
So in a way, is it like 2 for the price of 1? You get some copper and you get some gold with the same mining operation?
It is. It's very much like that. It's one of the most attractive jurisdictions in the world.
But the thing is, Newmont's current open pit mine is almost at the end of its life, just a couple of years left. What the company wants to do is move the operations underground and do something called block cave mining. UBC professor John Steen explains it this way.
It's sort of like upside down mining, upside down surface mining. That's one way of thinking about it.
Basically, miners drill a hole deep underground. Gravity forces the rock to collapse into the hole, then those rocks can be collected and processed.
And that's a much more efficient way of mining. It uses a lot of gravity to collapse and break the rock.
What are the risks of block cave mining?
Yeah, so uncontrolled rock fractures is the biggest risk.
Remember last summer? 3 miners were rescued after spending 60 hours trapped in a BC mine. That was Red Chris, and those miners were doing exploratory work for the Block Cave project.
And from a block cave perspective, we are developing the lessons learned and going through our investigation, and we'll be finalizing that shortly. And we are confident that we can do this safely.
One of the big reasons to expand, jobs. Right now, about 1,500 people work at the mine. If the mine closes, they're out of work. With expansion, they get to keep their jobs, and the number would go up to about 1,800 jobs during construction. More than 200 people working at the mine are members of the Tahltan Nation. The Tahltan Nation is partners with the mine. Its development corporation makes $100 million annually from Red Chris. That would continue with expansion. The nation didn't want to do an interview for this story, but when the national projects list was announced, it put out a statement saying any expansion of the Red Chris mine will only happen with Tahltan consent. Those negotiations are happening now.
The bottom line is no consent, no mine. That's just a fact.
One of the things the nation and the province is considering is how the expansion could impact the environment. On the plus side, block cave mining generates far fewer greenhouse gases than surface operations. Adrian Birchtold is with the environmental group Skeena Wild. It's been monitoring the Red Chris project for 5 years. She worries about water.
There was a series of, I would say, oversights on the part of the government that have resulted in long-standing environmental issues. All of Red Chris Mine's waste leaks into the surrounding environment, into the creeks and lakes, at rates that are much greater than what was predicted and planned for.
In fact, the province of British Columbia has repeatedly fined the mine for instances of failing to monitor groundwater. Newmont says that dates back to before it bought the mine and says it's spending more than $150 million to improve monitoring.
The government should not be speeding up a process that they are already not getting right at regular speeds. If we're seeing all of these issues arising at Red Chris under the current regulatory structure at a normal speed, then how many more problems are we going to see as they fast track?
And it's not just Red Chris she worries about. Check out all the proposed and active mining sites in the area, many owned by multinational corporations in partnership with Indigenous nations. Now, the feds say they want to develop industry and conserve land, creating what the Prime Minister calls the Northwest Critical Conservation Corridor. It's kind of like having your cake and eating it too. Build the infrastructure to support mining at the same time as leaving vast amounts of land untouched.
This project could unlock development of transmission, lead to future investment in roads and telecommunications.
As Newmont sees it, Red Chris is just the beginning.
So you are talking about a very significant potential economic story within the region.
For all the support, it's not a done deal. The province and the Tahltan have to sign off on assessments and approvals. Then the company will make a call on the business case. There's money to be made here, but everyone's still sorting out at what cost.
That's Lindsay Duncombe reporting. Hundreds of flights within the United States are being canceled, and the situation could get worse. The U.S. government shutdown has forced air traffic controllers to work without pay for more than a month. The CBC's Julia Wong has more.
It may seem like business as usual at this Florida airport, but travelers who we talk to say they're frustrated by the flight cuts. At the 40 busiest airports in the United States, including where we are right now at Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport, flights are being canceled, starting at 4% today, ramping up to 10% by next Friday, with the possibility of that growing if this U.S. government shutdown continues. Now, these cuts are meant to ease the strain, relieve some of the pressure on air traffic controllers who have been working for weeks without pay and who have been struggling through vacancies. Hundreds of flights from coast to coast in this country are being impacted, and travelers we talk to have made contingency plans and are angry about the flight disruptions.
People would be in serious danger if they keep up this garbage.
You know, it's not just me. I'm going home and I'm staying.
I'm gonna go home and not book any more flights.
Is that because you're worried about getting stranded somewhere?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I travel a lot, so you know, getting stranded is every now and again is part of traveling. But you know, it's going to be tough for travelers over the next few weeks.
We were supposed to fly out tomorrow, and so we're leaving early to make sure we get home, if we hopefully get home.
CBC News caught up with U.S. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy at Reagan International Airport in Washington, D.C. Duffy says he's appreciative of what air traffic controllers do, and then he put it on the Democrats to end the government shutdown so travel volumes can get back to normal.
I'm grateful for them, but I also see there's more pressure on them. And so I'm trying to reduce their pressure and make sure we keep the airspace safe. Any end in sight? That's a question for Democrats. If Democrats are going to go home this weekend and they've kept the government shut down, that's shameful.
Duffy says, generally speaking, international flights should not be affected. But where things could get tricky for Canadians is if they have a connecting flight in the United States with a partner airline. Now, all of this could not come at a worse time. The U.S. is heading into one of its busiest travel seasons, with American Thanksgiving less than 3 weeks away. Julia Wong, CBC News, Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
Vancouver's newest hockey team is about to kick off their first season. The inspiration behind the Vancouver Golden Eyes when we return.
So I know when I really like a song, if within the first 3 seconds, I'm already vibing to it.
Hey, I'm Rohith Joseph. Vibin' is the new show all about discovering great new songs and fresh artists from across BC and beyond.
It's not one person dictating what good music is, it's the community sharing what good music is.
Stream Vibin' on CBC Listen.
Well, if you haven't yet heard, Vancouver's newest PWHL team has unveiled their name and logo, the Vancouver Golden Eyes. The team says the name is inspired by the golden eye, a type of duck unique to the province. The logo symbolizes vision, clarity, and focus, with part of its logo pointing northwest to represent the city's geographical location. Joining us now to talk more about the Golden Eyes is the Director of Business Operations with the team, Tanya Richards. Tanya, tell us more about the team's new name and logo and what it represents and how your team even settled on the Golden Eyes.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. The Vancouver Golden Eyes are very excited to finally, A, have everybody know who we are, and B, rally behind us. The inspiration came from the common goldeneye, which is a native bird that you see in Vancouver's waterways and skylines. But for us, it really has these character traits that spoke to us early on. It's got incredible vision. They travel as a pack. They're incredibly defensive in nature. You mostly see them in the winter time. They're known to be really, really fierce, protective. They have unbelievable vision, and they just kind of soar together in this kind of pack mentality. And it just really kind of leaned into what we felt our team could be.
Uniting as one. I love that. Now, what does it mean for the league and for women's sports that the PWHL is welcoming 2 new franchises this season with Seattle and Vancouver?
Well, I think it just really shows how people are ready for this. The interest in year 1 was substantial, and year 2 is just ready. You know, everybody just kept saying we were ready. And when we came to Vancouver for that takeover game in January, I mean, the community spoke for itself. We had, 19,000 fans come out and say Vancouver wants a team. They put their hand up, and the league heard them really right off the top. And, a few months later, they announced a team coming. So I think that, society is just aligned right now. It's the perfect sort of movement with women in sport, corporate world getting behind it, and just, young girls and young boys saying, like, why isn't there, professional women's sport? So the worlds are collided in this, kind of great place. And I think everybody's just ready for it.
And they're probably very ready for these games as well. And we know that your home is at the Pacific Coliseum, an arena with so much history. So what can fans expect when attending the games?
Well, I think that's really important to remember. There is so much historical significance in that building, whether it's, the 72 Summit Series. It was home for the Vancouver Canucks for many, many years. The 2010 Olympic Games, the Giants were there. And we're just hoping to rejuvenate it and bring life back to it. But it has so much history to it. It feels like a barn. For us, the most interesting part is that Vancouver will be the only team that we are the primary stakeholders in our building. So that building is really ours. The PNE have been unbelievable partners for us, and they've given us every chance to brand the building and make it feel like ours. They spend a lot of time and money and, frankly, labor of love to make it feel like our space and get it to where it needs to be, quality level rink again.
And really quickly, when can they first catch you?
Well, our training camp started this weekend, actually, but our players are going to hit the ice on Monday. And then our first game is November 21st, and tickets are really, honestly, going really fast. We only have a few left. So if you want to come and join us on the 21st, please jump online and grab those tickets. And then we, of course, have 12 more home games being played in Vancouver for the rest of the season.
Go Golden Eyes, go. Thanks so much, Tanya. That's Tanya Richards, Vancouver Golden Eyes Director of Business Operations.
Thanks.
The weather update is brought to you by BC Cancer Foundation. Give today to bring more progress and possibilities to patients and their families. Your donation changes everything.
Doris Madavi is back. And Doris, what can people expect for the weekend?
Well, we're drying up here in southwest BC, as we talked about earlier. All our weather warnings have dropped across BC. We have some moisture streaming into the north and central coast, going to break into parts of the northeast, maybe the central interior, but for the most part, across BC, with the exception of the northwest and down to the central coast, we are drying up. Now, what does that look like here in southwest BC? Well, some parting of the clouds has already been seen earlier today. I know the skies are dark by now, but we have seen some rain that's going to be, we are going to see more rain coming to the North Island in the next overnight period and into tomorrow morning, which is what we see here. Some heavy precipitation will also be coming to other parts of the island by the time we get into Sunday. But we're pretty for pretty much everybody at times, like tomorrow afternoon looks nice across the island. Plenty of clearing Sunday morning across the board. That cloud then continues to build in through Sunday as that heavy rain makes its way down further south and across the island. And then it'll probably reach Metro Vancouver either by Sunday evening, because it has been shifting a little bit earlier, or by Sunday overnight into Monday. That's what that looks like there. But freezing levels expecting to be a little bit higher, so don't really expect much snow for anything like the local mountains or anything like that. Up at Whistler, with all those higher peaks that are going to be seeing some snow. Now, if we zoom out to the rest of the province, again, a little bit of snow still coming to parts of the Peace, maybe parts of the central interior. That snow breaks in, lots of snow for the mountains right along the north and central coasts, and then up into the northwest. Some of those showers make their way into the Peace, and this time they will be showers rather than snow, because temperatures during the day, at least, back up above freezing. And then a little bit of that starts to make its way down south, passing briefly through the southern interior and reaching the south coast by, again, probably Sunday night, North Island by Sunday morning, and then working its way south, reaching Metro Vancouver by Sunday night. Many places across the province seeing snow, but again, mostly confined to those higher elevations and up in the north. Places like Dease Lake are cold enough to keep getting snow, but again, temperatures in the northeast have been climbing. Temperatures across the province, again, definitely looking chilly up there, but temperatures start to recover from south to north over the next few days. Freezing levels start to come back up. So all that snow that we saw on the Coquihalla earlier, not expecting to see a repeat of that anytime soon. Then here is our conditions for tomorrow. Plenty of sunshine, especially in the south, will continue to spread towards the north as we get later into the week. And here's our 5-day forecast, Janella. Mainly sunny skies. And then, again, bit of a wet early next week, but at least we have the weekend.
All right, thanks so much, Darius. And before you go anywhere, don't go too far, because it's Fun Fact Friday. And today, Darius, we're talking about cheese.
That's right. Janella, not too long ago, I got my hands on a cheese-making kit, which is a lot of fun. It's like
awesome.
It's like the most sciencey kind of cooking. And I have a friend who bakes bread, so they made the bread, I made the cheese. It was great. But I learned after that you don't actually need to get your hands on a cheese-making kit, because really all you're providing is the bacteria and the rennet, things that you can get your hands on outside of a cheese-making kit. So you don't have to spend necessarily all that money, although it does make it easy. Here are some of the bacteria that we can use to make different kinds of cheese, and bacteria is a very important part. And you know where you can find bacteria, Janella? Everywhere, including on your own body. I didn't want to put an actual photo of a belly button because that's gross. But armpits, belly button, skin, you're covered in bacteria. In fact, scientists back in 2012 released a paper that they sampled 60 belly buttons, and they found that across those 60 belly buttons, they discovered almost 2,500 different kinds of bacteria. That's an average of 67 different types of bacteria in each belly button. They discovered, I think it was almost 1,500 species that were entirely new to science when they then expanded out and sampled 500 belly buttons. One of those researchers, I learned after, then took those bacteria, cultured them in a petri dish, and used it to make cheese. And I thought that was fantastic. Disgusting, but fantastic. But then I started looking into it more. I wanted to find a photo of that petri dish or of the cheese that she made, or find out if she ate it. And in doing so, I discovered that there's this lab in the UK called Open Cell that swabbed various British celebrities. This is a food writer and a runner-up in the Great British Bake Off. Used those bacteria to make cheese, and then it was displayed in a British museum. This is the Stilton cheese made from that Great British Bake Off runner-up.
Wow, that
Gross.
sounds like a, slightly weird but interesting science experiment. Thanks so much, Darius.
Thank you.
The 2026 Grammy nominations are out. After the break, who has the chance to win big and which Canadians will be represented? Stay with us.
Hi, I'm Amy Bell, and this is your CBC Inbox. Join CBC's Michelle Elliott on November 12th for an unforgettable evening of storytelling, leadership, healing, and unity at the Better Not Bitter Summit. For tickets, visit betternotbitter.ca. And the Chutzpah Festival returns November 12th to 23rd with an exciting lineup of performances including dance, music, theater, and more. For tickets, visit chutzpahfestival.com.
The 2026 Grammy nominations have been revealed. Kendrick Lamar, Bad Bunny, and Lady Gaga are leading the pack in nominations.
There's also a strong showing of some of Canada's biggest artists. Magda Gabriselassie has the details.
You've got the Grammys showing love to Kendrick, K-pop, and some Canadians. After taking home lots of hardware earlier this year, Kendrick Lamar takes the top spot for nominations with 9, including Album of the Year, and this track, Luther, is up for Record and Song of the Year. In the second spot for most nominations, you have Lady Gaga with her album Mayhem and some of its tracks getting some recognition. You also have Bad Bunny, Sabrina Carpenter, Leon Thomas getting a lot of nominations as well. Now turning to a specific genre, K-pop. The movie K-pop Demon Hunters was a massive hit this summer, and so is the music from the fictional band. The song Golden has received several nominations, including Song of the Year.
This is a huge moment for K-pop, for sure. And the only place that they were forecasted to get a nomination for Golden that they didn't was Record of the Year, where they would have made history being the first K-pop group to get in that category.
Sticking with the genre, Rosé, who's from the K-pop girl group Blackpink, is also a hit as a solo artist. This track with Bruno Mars got her some nominations. Canadians getting a lot of love too, including Justin Bieber, who is back with his Swag album. He's got 4 nominations. Drake has 1 nomination for Best Melodic Rap Performance for the song Somebody Loves Me with Party Next Door. And Tate McRae has her first Grammy nominations. Now the wait is on to see who will take home the hardware. The Grammys show airs on Sunday, February 1st. Magda Gebre-Selassie, CBC News, Toronto.
Some local artists are also getting recognition. Singer-songwriter Layla Bialy grew up in North Vancouver and has been nominated for Best Traditional Pop Vocal Album.
Layla says she wrote the album in 2021 while in Banff during the outbreak of the COVID-19 Omicron variant. Take a look.
There I was, sequestered in my cabin in the woods, inspired by these incredible, gorgeous natural scenes. In many ways, just a beautiful Canadian winter vignette. And I wrote almost a soundtrack for winter is how I would describe it. And yeah, so that's how it started. And then the vision for the actual recording grew from there.
Thanks for being with us tonight on CBC Vancouver News at 6.
I will have your next local news at 11 o'clock right after the National. Have a good night.